Hi, my name is Obi Austin Wando, and we're back here this week to talk about identifying your values. Last week, in this series, we talked about the importance of periodic evaluation of your strengths, your weaknesses, opportunities, and your threats. This is basically to aid us in balancing motherhood and our career. And producing today is, directing today is, so let's ask ourselves, what is a value? Values are things that you believe are important in the way you live your life and the way you work. So values generally are guiding principles that dictate your behavior and actions when things or problems materialize. Why must we evaluate or identify our values? This cannot be overemphasized, because identifying your value helps you know what is right and what is wrong. Identifying your values helps you know if you're fulfilling the goals that you have set for yourself. Identifying your values helps you in decision making. It helps you in prioritization of your commitments. Identifying your value increases your self-confidence. It helps you react in difficult situations, and it helps you choose the right career. It can also help you choose the right company for which you want to work or grow in. Generally, identifying your value helps your overall happiness. I know you could ask, so how does one go about identifying one's values? There are several ways, and the truth about it is that you cannot do this except you put it down in pen and paper. And these are the steps that I have ascertained that helped me in identifying my own personal values. Now, what did I do? First, I got out my pen and paper, and I listed out moments that has happened in my life that really taught me something important. This could be good things or bad things, it does not matter. As long as they affected your life positively or negatively, you can put them down. And then after putting down these events, I tried to narrow them down and group them. So I grouped them and narrowed them down. And then from the grouping and narrowing, I was able to identify those that truly represent who I was or who I wanted to grow into in the nearest future. And then I selected the few major ones out of the many. You can also go to Google and come up with different personal values and then put them together, group them, and try to ascertain which ones actually speak to you as an individual. So you select the few major ones and then you consistently evaluate them. Don't be worried, do not fret, because values can change over time. Values can change with age, values can change with when things happen in your life that were not there before. Values can change as your career grows. Values can change when you become a mother. So values must not stay consistent, they can actually change. Now, in my own case, I have identified a couple of values that I think are extremely key to me. And these are professionalism, compassion, integrity, creativity, discipline, and respect. And then how do I ascertain, or how do I apply these values that I have identified to my work life or my motherhood? Let's take, for instance, integrity. If integrity is extremely important to you, you can easily use that in evaluating the organization for which you work in or the organization you want to work for. For instance, you can ask yourself simple questions. This organization that I currently work for, do they have open communication? When I say open communication, I mean open communications that are consistent, communication that flows top to bottom or bottom to top, as long as it's open and it's consistent. Then you can also use feedbacks to evaluate if that organization has integrity. You ask yourself, does this organization value feedbacks? There are two different things: an organization seeming to value feedbacks and an organization who actually values feedback. And how do you differentiate it? An organization that values feedback applies these feedbacks they get to policies, to procedures, to strategy, and to several areas of the business. And then you can also ask yourself, okay, if I know that I can use their policies to ascertain if they have integrity, what kind of policies can I look at? You can consider the performance policy. You ask yourself, is the performance policy clearly set out? Is it easily communicated? Is it understandable? And does it apply to A as it applies to B? You can also try to review their disciplinary policy. You ask yourself, how is discipline handled in the organization? Does it apply to A as it applies to B? Or are there people in that organization who seem to be above these rules? You can also use it in the promotion policy. How do they apply their promotion? Do people get promoted based on performance? Do people get promoted based on what they have brought to the table? Do people get hired in recruitment? Do people get hired due to their skills, or do they get hired due to the fact that they know one or two people? So these are some ways that you can actually evaluate a company to see if they actually have that same value that you have, integrity. In the area of motherhood, you ask yourself, will my children see me as being a person of integrity? Do I tell them the truth when I need to tell them the truth? And then, can I keep my word? It's very difficult as a mother to keep your word when your children are extremely young, because what you think is important is not what they think is important. For instance, my kids, they think I keep my word when I tell them they can have screen time. So if I do not limit their screen time, mommy is keeping her word. Now, another thing is they will tell you that I am not good at keeping my word because I get to spend the monies that they are gifted. I use it for laundry. So it is okay as a mother if in some cases your kids think that you do not have integrity. The truth about it is that you must always try to strive and have that integrity. Let them see it in your way of life in other areas. And then if you want to talk about creativity, company-wise, does your company trust you to do what you were employed to do? Does your company allow you to think outside the box, or do they micromanage you? A company that micromanages does not value creativity, because the basic thing about creativity is you're allowed to run towards a set goal, and then if you have problems, you go back and get assistance. But you're allowed to reach these goals in several ways and not in one clear way. Do not forget that there are certain policies and procedures that you must follow, yes, but there's also certain things that does not have a stipulated procedure and should not have a stipulated procedure, as long as several loads can lead to that, achieving that goal. And then you ask yourself, does this company hunger for ideas? Do they ask you for your input? Do they respect your skill? Do they respect your intellect? So these are ways you can use the values that you hold there to ascertain or to evaluate that organization. And then in the area of your kids, creativity, do you micromanage them? I know this is very, very hard with mothers. For me, with the kind of temperament that I have, micromanagement almost comes naturally. So I have to make a concrete effort not to micromanage. In fact, my daughter tells me that I overparent. Then you ask yourself, do you actually hear these children when they speak? Do you listen to them, or do you wait for them to complete so that you can respond or to answer? Or do you hear them to try to understand them? So these are ways you can evaluate the creativity of that company and your creativity as a mother. If we talk about discipline, there are several ways. I would ask you, can your team count on you to deliver? Do you work for your pay, especially now that we are working remotely? You are expected to work and have several deliverables. Do you actually work consistently? I'll tell you one thing, in my house, we hold each other accountable. If I leave my workstation and I step out, you would hear one of my children from one of the rooms where they are virtual learning asking, "Mommy, where are you going to? Is it your break time?" And then I have to explain, I want to stretch my legs or I want to use the restroom. So because they know that discipline is one key value that we hold there in our home front, we end up helping each other and holding each other accountable. So another thing we can look at is respect. You ask yourself, does your company respect your skills? If they respect your skills, they will not micromanage you. Do they respect your opinion? If they respect your opinion, then they will listen to your ideas. Do they respect your time? Do they respect your family? Do they respect your dreams and your aspirations? In the area of time and family, do they expect you to let your family suffer for the work? Do they pay you for 8 hours and expect you to give in 12 hours? There are some organizations that are not a good work a fit for a working mother, and you must understand that that is the organization's strategy. So you must ensure that you know if your organization truly respects your time and your family, because time is key and family is also key. And then in respecting your children, do you shut them up? I know that with my kids, when I'm rude, they tell me, Mommy, you're being rude. And then I apologize. It's very difficult, like, because you're thinking to yourself, oh, this is supposed to be my child and supposed to listen to me. But the truth about it is that I tell my 10-year-old not to shut the 7-year-old. It is rude. That there are other ways to tell her to shut up without being insultive. So these are ways that you can help yourself identify your values, use it in evaluating your ideals, your goals, use it in evaluating your company, your career. It is okay, because especially during the covid right now, we do not have a choice of a company that we are working for presently. We do not, because those of us who are working are happy that we even have work, because a lot of people out there do not have a job. So this is basically all that we have today. I have exceeded my time because my director has said this video must not take longer than 10 minutes, but I see that it has. But I believe that we'll get better over time. Please, I'd like you to give us your feedbacks, your comments. Like I said, it takes a whole village to bring up a child. I would love to hear what works for you, and then I can also apply it to what I am currently doing. So from over here, have a lovely day and please stay safe. Bye.